There you go. So, I'm going to start in Spanish. Hola a todos. Un invitadazo el que tenemos el día de hoy. Shelton Eppler con nosotros nos acompaña aquí en Play Action MX. Shelton, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back home in Texas and back with my family, celebrating still this big accomplishment that we just achieved.
Of course, yeah. So let's start. Can you introduce yourself a little bit? Where are you from, and when did you start playing football? Something in general about you.
My name is Shelton Eppler. I'm from Navasota, Texas, which is about 45 minutes from Houston. I've been playing football since I was about 7 years old. Football is actually my second favorite sport growing up until I got to about the high school level. I was always a baseball guy. And then once I got to the high school level, football kind of, or my junior year of high school, we kind of blew up and we went to state championship and won that. And then it seems like football surpassed baseball. And then I just took football and I ran with it. And here we are today. I'm still playing, I'm still loving it and still enjoying it.
Yeah, because I know your brother is a baseball guy, right?
Correct. He is. Yeah, he is playing baseball right now in South Korea.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh.
So you both guys are like playing international sports, right?
Yeah. So he's the kind of the reason where I got into the looking at football overseas, or not necessarily overseas for Mexico, but different countries. He was in Japan, I would say 3 years ago, and me and my wife, we got to visit him there with my family, and it was such an amazing experience. It kind of broadened my view of saying, like, this is something I love to do. Why not get to travel while you do it? And then that's how I was last year. I got to play football in Denmark. That was I was there for about 8 months, and it was an amazing experience. I got to meet a lot of amazing people, and now, after this past year in Mexico, we've done something for the first time for Fundadores, and I'm so thankful for all that.
So Shelton, you played D1 football at the US. Tell us about that. How was that experience for you, for your career? Just like overall, how was it?
It was an amazing experience. I actually, right out of high school, I went to a junior college by the name of Trinity Valley Junior College. And my head coach at the time, Brad Smiley, as going into my sophomore year, I broke my collarbone that first game of that year. So it kind of sidelined me for about 6 weeks. And thankfully, at the end of that season, I came back and was playing. And my head coach believed in me so much that he got the offensive coordinator job at the D1 that I continued my career at. He just kind of brought me along with him. And then when I got to Northwestern State University in Louisiana, and it was an amazing experience, amazing football, amazing food, people, and then that's where I got to meet my wife. So I'm very thankful for that opportunity.
No, that's amazing. So back to the Denmark topic, you played there. How was that experience? Because it's a completely different, country from where you are at now, and of course from Mexico. So just tell us about how was Denmark. How's the level there? Because it's also interesting to know how football is growing overseas, right?
Mm-hmm. I would say it's a lot like Mexico in aspects of it's not the number one sport in the country.
Yeah.
Soccer, or a lot of people call it football. It's so in Europe, American football is definitely growing. It's just a little bit harder than Mexico because Mexico is so close to American football. We're just right across the border, and they're very tied into it. So there's a lot more money to back it to allow it to grow rapidly like we are seeing today. But the football in Denmark was amazing. I was a little skeptical of going at first due to it being several hours. I think it was like a 15, 16-hour plane ride. So that was a little challenging. Then the time zone, they were 7 hours ahead. So it was kind of hard to communicate with people on a certain schedules due to the time zones. The football was really good due to that level of football was a little bit different than Mexico because of a lot of the guys on our teams are in that league. They were work first, football second. Whereas when I went to Denmark, it was football first, work compared to them because of that's the reason I was there was to play football. So that aspect was a little bit different compared to as in Mexico. I'm there to strictly play football, and all the other guys there, they're there to accomplish one thing, and that's football. So I would say that's a lot different than the Europe experience, but it was an amazing experience. I was there for 8 months. I got to go to travel Denmark. I got to go to Italy for 11 days with my wife, and it was an amazing experience. And unfortunately, it was during the COVID kind of
Uh,
when the EU kind of shut down everything. So it was very hard to get there to Europe. But once you're in Europe, there's no travel restrictions of going from like Denmark to Italy, Denmark to Germany. So that was a good part of it. But we got to see kind of like the true experience of a tourist in a foreign country because we were pretty much the only Americans there
yeah.
because it was hard to get into the EU.
So in terms of football, in terms of level, um, how do you think which one is better? Like which one has been more difficult to you? Is it Mexico or is it Denmark?
I would say Mexico is better level of play and more physical due to a lot of the football players in Europe, they didn't grow up playing American football.
All right.
They recently have kind of adapted to it to try to put it more out there for the younger kids to grow on it faster. Whereas in Mexico, there's universities, high schools, from youth clubs, so it's very way more popular
Yeah.
To allow those guys and girls that play American football to kind of grow and understand the game at an earlier level.
Yeah. So let's get to what's been in the past days, in the past months, because I see you wearing all this stuff from the Fundidores, and man, I love that. So how was it that you came to the Fundidores? How was it that you got contact with the owners, or just tell us like how was it that you get to play in Monterrey?
So I actually, my junior year of high school, I played the UANL Tigres, Nuevo Leon
Oh,
Tigres high school. So they traveled to Navasota, Texas, and they played us. And one of the coaches on the coaches staff, he was the offensive line coach at the time, Coach Alfredo Hernandez, who is now the offensive coordinator for Fundadores. He reached out to me, I would say, in January of this year and kind of asked if I was still interested in playing. We kind of caught up a little bit, remembered each other from playing in high school, and I played, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. And it was seemed like a small world. He reached out to me at a
yeah,
good time. I was in a good place. Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, it was kind of a hard time zone though, due to because I was married. I got married to my wife on February 12th, and they wanted me there 2 weeks or 1 week after my wedding, which I was going to be on my honeymoon at the time.
yeah.
So it was rushed in that aspect, um, and I wish it wasn't so close together. But I mean, we can't control the times and how things work, but we made it do, and we were able to get a championship back to Fundadores.
Well, like that's really a cool story. Like back there in high school, so years, and he still remembered about you. So that's really interesting. That's amazing. So LFA, what do you think about the league overall? How is it being managed in terms of professionalism and just like franchises, I'm sorry, how are they being managed? What do you think about the organization? Just tell us overall, what do you think of the league?
It's very exciting because we don't know what to expect. There's definitely more and more fans by the day that are getting hooked onto the LFA or getting brought to their attention of like, what is this league? I like it. We're getting to see American football at a professional level. We're bringing in some imports to help out and make teams better or keeping it very local or domestic like some of the teams do. And it's very exciting because we don't know what to expect going. I didn't know what to expect going into it. I just thought it was another chance to go play American football at a pretty good level because of remembering from high school. And it was very exciting. It definitely surpassed my expectations. As you can see, if you were watching the championship game, of how many fans were at the stadium in Tijuana, of how big the stadium was, how many people took it so serious, and I loved every part of it. I think it's only going to get bigger and better.
No, that's amazing. And yeah, talking about the season, we're already into it. What did it mean for you? Of course, you have rocked the Tazón Mexico. So what did that mean for you as a person, as a player? I mean, it should be an amazing experience coming. Like you're the first American quarterback to win it. So what does it mean for you?
It means everything. That was the reason that I wanted to go play football in Mexico, was to go there and win. I didn't want to go just to meet people, to have fun. I was like it's a business trip for me, and as well as the business trip, I got to meet such amazing people, teammates, all the organizations, fans, supporters. So it was definitely well worth it, and I was so excited I got to do this opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. And let's get into a situation. You're face to face with the Shelton Eppler that started playing football. The Shelton Eppler was 7 years old, and you need to tell him, hey, you will win the Tazon Mexico 5 in a few years, and you're gonna be the first American quarterback to do it. What do you think he would say? What do you think he would think about that?
I wouldn't know what to think about that, just due to the thought of playing American football in Mexico never would have come to my mind. It's just crazy of how friendships or relationships can mold over the years, and I'm so thankful for that, because it allows me to do stuff like this, to reach fans or supporters that are in that position to be 7 to 15 years old, that you never know where something can take you, and as long as you keep pursuing it and keep working hard, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like I thought that was gonna be an answer that you may give because yeah, I mean, who would have thought that Mexico football will grow like this and the way it is growing? So yeah, that was a question that I wanted to ask. Um, but let's get to the day before the Tazon Mexico 5. What was going through your head? How was the team feeling? Overall?
I'd say we're very determined. I would say, obviously, like no one, there's everyone handles games differently. I'm more of a day before. I like to just carry on about my day, have some joking in here and there, and just talk like it's not that big of a game. Like the day before, obviously, I'm gonna prepare, eat it right, stay hydrated for the game and stuff like that. But I treat it like any other day. Now, as like a game day, the day going into it, I'm more of a quiet person. I don't really like to talk. Like once the game starts, that's when I start talking. I want the team to know I'm here. I'm giving everything I have. But leading up to the game, I'm not a huge talker. If someone wants like to carry on a conversation with me, I'm usually more of a one word answer, like yes, no, and then go about my business, just to stay focused and prepare for the game.
Yeah, for sure. And it was a long season. It was a great season, of course, for the team, for you, Shelton. Um, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of great moments that happened in the season, but there should be a favorite one. What is it?
I would say definitely winning the championship is the number one, but that number two is a close second. Is definitely the semifinal game and the last play of the game, of not knowing what to expect, because as long as there's time on the clock, obviously the game's not over, and that showed.
Nah, that game is actually considered the best game in history of the LFA. I of if I'm the one to judge, that to me is the best game that has ever been played in the LFA. So that was amazing. I was watching it here in my room, and I'm not I don't have a team right now in the LFA. I just watch it because it's Mexican football, but I was excited, man. Like, how can you not get excited about that type of football? It was an amazing game. Of course, the various caught that, and it was the full crowd in Monterrey. It was a full stadium. How was that environment in the stadium that game?
I would say it was definitely one of the best environments I've been around, especially in Mexico, due to the rivalry between the Raptors and Fundadores, with the history going back to the previous playoff games, but we actually lost to the Raptors.
Yeah.
So obviously that was sitting in the back of people's minds, is when, like, especially when they drove down with about I can't remember how much time was left, maybe like a minute left in the game, and they were winning, and then obviously that doubt is going to cross people's minds. But I'm just glad that we, as our team and fans, we stayed in the ball game. We didn't give up, and we kept battling to the end and put on a great show for the fans and the league of the LFA.
Yeah, of course, it was a great game. Um, so Sheldon, you were living in Mexico. Did you learn some Spanish?
A little bit. It's definitely something I wanted to go in, try to learn as much as possible. However, it's kind of very difficult to pick up on. I could pick up on certain words, but as like a lot of my teammates would say, it's like the sentences and how fast they spoke. It was very hard for non Spanish speaker to pick up on that. Now, if they simplified things and slowed down, it was easier to kind of see what they were trying to say.
Yeah, because I imagine it was hard, like, to communicate with the coaches and stuff. So, like, was that one of the biggest difficulties you have through the season?
Absolutely. It was the language barrier is obviously going to play a factor. How I think we did a great job as a team and organization of finding ways to go around that.
Yeah.
Like my roommate was Arthur Pinedo. He's a defensive originally from Spain, but lives in Finland, and he speaks 4 languages, including Spanish. So it was very helpful to have him in my, basically, I would say, in my corner or right beside me at hip at all times, because he could translate for me if I needed. And it was an amazing experience to have him there, and he made it so much easier.
Yeah, of course. So Shelton, Mexico, food is a really important thing about our culture. Which food was your favorite here?
I'm a huge fan of the campechanas.
Okay, all right.
That was my first time having the trompo in Monterrey, and luckily, right beside our house, we had a really good taco place that pretty much every night after practice, we walked over there, and we got to know the owner pretty well.
Yeah, that's amazing. So back to the game, the Tazón Mexico. Your family was there present at Tijuana, the Estadio Caliente. So what did that mean for you? I mean, they saw the first American quarterback to win it. So what did that mean for you?
It meant everything. To having my wife, my parents, and my wife's parents, it was an amazing experience, because that doesn't happen too often, that you can go play football in another country, especially in the championship game, and have them there with you. It was very special walking over there and hugging them, hugging my wife. It was very emotional, and it was such an amazing experience to go and do that, just to know that all the sacrifices that were given on both sides, with my wife being away from my family, and it all paid off right when that the buzzer hit 0 and we won the championship.
Yeah, for sure. And Shelton, before we get to the last question, I want to have a little game with you, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fun.
All right, I'm gonna say one word or a thing, and you're gonna answer with one question, like one word. You're only allowed to say one word, all right?
Okay.
All right. So to start, football,
Life,
wife,
everything.
family,
I would say support.
fundidores,
Amazing. Champions.
Mexico.
Culture.
Last one, Tazón Mexico 5.
Fundadores.
All right, that's it. Thank you. That I thought that was gonna be a funny, dynamic. So to finish, I'm pretty sure every Fundidores fan, they have this question in their minds coming into next season. We had Tavares Batiste on Instagram Live a few hours ago, and he said he was waiting for you to say something about this. Every Fundidores fans love you. You brought them their first championship. So Shelton, are you coming back to the Fundidores next season?
That is a question that's up in the air, because I'm in conversations right now with the organizations and coaches. So I do not have a definite answer on that. I will say that my time in Monterrey and for Fundadores was an amazing experience with amazing teammates and players like Duke. And so I do not know that answer to that question. I just settling back home, enjoying this championship win, but still talking to the organization about possible future. Yes.
All right. So Shelton, that's gonna make it. Thank you again for doing this. I had a great time with you, and I mean, amazing season. Congrats on the Tazón Mexico, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me.
Thank you, Shelton.
Yes,
Shelton Eppler, señores.